The Catholics of Oz is brought to you by the Star Quest Production Network and is made possible by our many generous patrons. If you'd like to support the podcast, please visit GiveStarQuest.com.
You're listening to episode 153 of The Catholics of Oz. The Catholics of Oz is a show where we discuss faith, culture, and what's been happening from an Aussie perspective. Whether it's synods or science, apostolates and apps, providence or productivity, you can hear it right now on The Catholics of Oz. Hello, I'm Lindsay Sant, and welcome to episode 153 of The Catholics of Oz. So good to have you with us. We've got a great episode for you today, something different as well. We've got an interview coming up, which I can't wait to share with you. Sorry, it's just adjusting my camera. Anyway, we're looking forward to doing that. Before we do anything else, though, I have to introduce our wonderful panel, starting with my great sister, Caroline Knight, who's going to be doing some science with us later. How are you today, Caroline?
Well, thanks. Not too bad. I'm glad it's the weekend. So, yeah, all good.
I love the weekend. The weekends go too quickly, don't they, Lino? Lino's,
they do.
Yep. Cold call.
Morning, guys. Morning, everyone. Yeah, this week's been strange. It's like summer weather, spring weather. The same with Melbourne. We always say Melbourne's got four seasons in one day or 4 seasons in 1 week. So, yeah, but it's been great. It's been great. But, yeah, sadly, the colder weather's coming. But it means that you can snuggle up to your loved ones and your pets. And for us married people, doing things inside the house. Yeah, the chores come in. It's like,
it's inside the house time.
Just the other side of it, yeah.
Weekends being chores, yay. Yep. That is the voice, the laugh of Lino Saubolle, who we're really happy to have on the show. I thought I'd introduce you after you spoke this time just to try something.
I
just wanted to mess with the space-time continuum a little bit and just see how... Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Handballed it to me. Well, I'm not ready yet. Well...
You never know when the host is going to strike. Anyway, we've got a bit to get through today, so I might just move the episode along. But first of all, if you are new to listening to the Catholics of Oz, you can subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or your favorite podcast player. Don't forget to give us a 5-star rating and some positive feedback so that we can hear from you and reach new people, which is what we are all about in this community podcast. SQPN also hosts the Catholics of Oz on YouTube. You can subscribe there, and don't forget to hit the bell to get notifications when new episodes of this show and all of the other great shows on StarQuest are released. So let's begin straight away, guys, with Faith Beyond Borders.
Well, I'm actually feeling rather good about this. I think we've all arrived at a very special place, eh? Oh. Spiritually, ecumenically.
How do you make somebody love you without affecting free will?
Welcome to my world, son. You come up with an answer to that one, you let me know.
Yes, I had to work very hard to pass Latin and theology.
Oh, quite. Those are, of course, the most important things.
Oh, yeah.
I'd sit this one out, Cap.
I don't see how I can.
These guys come from legend. They're basically gods.
There's only one god, man. And I'm pretty sure he doesn't dress like that.
So, guys, I had the privilege of interviewing recently Roby Curtis from Emmanuel City Mission. And right now, while this episode is going on, he is completing a 2,500 kilometer walk to raise $1 million for his mission, for which reaches out to homeless people in Brisbane. And essentially what he's trying to do is make it a 24-hour operation. So he runs a shelter, which is open during the day and some, I think, Wednesday nights as well, to help people who are on the streets. I won't give away too much because he describes it beautifully and what he's doing in the interview that we talk about. So I will leave it there. And here is my interview with Roby Curtis. So I am very happy to have Roby Curtis from the Emmanuel City Mission, who's going to be joining us to talk about a great initiative that he is about to start in April. So a quick introduction. 2025 Queensland Australian of the Year nominee Roby Curtis will tackle a grueling 2,500 kilometre walk from Brisbane to Alice Springs to raise $1 million for Emmanuel City Mission's homelessness services. The walk is inspired by Pope John Paul II's historic 1986 address in Alice Springs, where he called for dignity and reconciliation and respect for all people. Now, 40 years on, Robbie and Jeff will undertake the journey as a pilgrimage, honouring that message while shining a light on First Nations peoples and their communities. Robbie, welcome to the Catholics of Oz podcast.
Great to be here. Thanks, Lindsay.
So happy to have you, and there's a lot to unpack there. When this request for an interview came across my email, I was like, yes, we've got to promote this, got to talk about it more. And I got more and more excited as I was looking through your website and watching a couple of videos about what it is that you're planning to do and what you have done so far. So just to set the background a little bit, can you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and also just the story of the Emmanuel City Mission?
Absolutely. Yeah, so a little bit of me. I first and foremost a family person, so I'm a father of 7 and husband to Catherine, and he is married this year, so it's the foundation of all that I do. That's all that I bring to life beyond the home is from that foundation. And I'm 42, I'll be 43 in a couple of months. Yeah, sort of family life came early and it's been awesome. From that foundation, I've been blessed along with Catherine and the Emmanuel community to have really explored a real response in faith to the needs of our city of Brisbane, particularly to those who are experiencing hardship and vulnerability on our streets, those often experiencing seasons of homelessness. There's been a real call come upon our community through prayer and through, just through exploration as well as far as how can we respond. We've 16 years on, fast-tracked us through to running a 7-day-a-week facility that has in recent begun a evening facilities called Night Sanctuary, and Emmanuel City Mission is a 7-day-a-week operation with the beginnings of crisis accommodation services. Up to 250 people come through our door every day.
And up to 50 people have an opportunity to get off the streets who otherwise would be sleeping rough in our community. And that's where this walk is to aid the growth from one night to more.
Yeah, that's incredible being able to do that. The mission's been running for about 16 years, I think you've mentioned. Can you tell us a little bit about just what it's meant to the people who have been able to access that service?
Absolutely, yeah. Look, the first couple of years we were really wanting to make sure that whatever we contributed or offered was going to reach practical need. And we soon realised that having a location-based service where we could really lay cultural foundations as to what we thought was really our charism, if you like, and when it came to the sort of environment we wanted to invite our visitors, we call them into. So people experiencing homelessness and hardship coming in our door, we really felt as though a location that would offset idle time for many who were in seasons where work or further studies or even just housing was really strained, and having somewhere to go where there's no barriers, there's zero cost, but a very warm, rich culture and a respectful culture with no barriers in them being able to access basic services has become our response since about 2014. So 4 years of exploration before that, 2010 through to 2014, and 2014 honing in on a location-based service, and that's been our story since then.
That's amazing. And I was just thinking about just the current cost of living crisis that we find ourselves in with the world's context, the way things are at the moment. Have you found that becoming a bit of an effect on the people that you see every day?
Yeah, Lindsay, we're seeing people that haven't been in this situation before. They've possibly still maintained housing. They're hanging on by a thread, but they're needing support with other things, such as it can be simple as grocery packs for them and possibly dependents, right through to the need for some phone credit to be able to maintain connection with their support networks and whatnot. They just can't afford to get there, right through to medications and various other practical needs that we'll always try and assist with. A lot of people get stuck in our city. A lot of people will come from regional remote towns. They've waited many years for a particular procedure on the public health waiting list, and that time has come. They've come in from social housing in regional remote towns and had the procedure. They've been discharged at a time that doesn't line up with a pay cycle, say, and they're trapped for a number of days in our city, and we see people stuck in the vacuum. So, yeah, it's been a really tense time, and, yeah, we're seeing people walk in our door that don't know how to do homelessness, so to speak, with respect. They don't know how to conduct themselves, and our greatest hope is that it's only for a short period of time for them, but obviously with even recent pressures on homes and pressures on travel and those things, with what we see happening at a global level, it's affecting us locally. It doesn't seem to be getting any easier.
Yeah, it's good that amongst all the services, there's yours to help provide dignity, especially like to those people who are finding it, like you said, just for the first time, suddenly finding themselves in this place that never been in this situation before. And you're looking to extend that now. So I was reading about how you just talked about the Wednesday night and how you want to expand that to every night. So having this 24-hour service. So to do this April, you're walking a massive 2,500 kilometers with one of your team, Jeff, who's another member of your team. Can you tell us more about this walk, its purpose, and what you're hoping to achieve from it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a special year for those from our tradition, Catholic tradition, and I had a powerful experience of Jesus Christ in my young adult days. Cradle Catholic, raised in the church, some difficult teenage years, and came back into faith and really owned my adult faith through conversion, and was able to house that back in the Catholic community, and particularly with the Emmanuel community and in Brisbane. And in light of all that, it's a special year for us. It's 40 years since Pope St. John Paul II visited Alice Springs and visited this country in 1986. So 40 years on, I was going to honour him anyways through a pilgrimage walk of the scale that we're doing. But we felt with our connection to mission and our community being so mission focused on and real open doors policy, we thought there's an opportunity here to tell our story, to seek provision and support, recognising that our funding structure is community funded. We don't receive regular government funds or any Catholic Church funding or any other consistent funding bodies. We go to the community. We have a faithful donor base, so we wanted to bring them along on that journey. So, yeah, it's a collision of two things. It's provision for Night Sanctuary, which will be where every cent will go towards our $1 million target. But it's an interesting activity. There's an endurance to it. It's a spirit of pilgrimage in our tradition, which is, we know pilgrimage is a prolonged journey to a sacred destination with rich, powerful spiritual encounters. And so we're going to have all those dynamics as we share the journey with the socials and our supporters. And the most important thing is we're sharing our story with our visitors back at City Mission. They will be on the journey with us through Instagram Live. So, yeah, 2,500 Ks to Alice Springs to honour JP2. His words were very powerful. Every day we support up to 35% of our 250 are First Nations people through City Mission. So we've always known Aboriginal people. My whole life I've been in relationship with since I can remember. So very close to my heart in a real in a real lifelong sense. But certainly our mission has been naturally to First Nations people. And in the 40th year, we believe there's a really great opportunity to come back to what it's all about, which is relationship, really. We've got all the national issues and the things that we seek to try and understand and work through in the modern day contemporary pop culture space. But JP2 gave us a charter long before some of the modern conversations. And JP2 is just a giant. He's one of the greats. He was the people's pope. And just really stoked to be able to continue to feed from his wisdom.
Yeah, I actually wanted to explore a bit more of the inspiration of John Paul II on your work. So now I can remember when he came to Australia in 1986. I was about 4 or 5 years old. I remember that it was a big thing at the MCG. I don't barely have any memories of it, but I remember that we went, my family and I went.
Hey,
but he's touring around Australia, and in particular for you, because I know that you're going to Alice Springs, and you had that amazing address in Alice Springs to First Nations people. We've talked about on this podcast last year where he mentioned, for example, that important quote to Aboriginal people that you are an important part of the Australian church and you have gifts to give. I'm paraphrasing very poorly, but you have gifts to give to the Australian church. Our church won't be complete until those gifts are given and then received by the rest of us joyfully. What is the inspiration of John Paul II? What has he said? What has he done? What are the particular things that have really moved your heart from him to do the work that you're doing and this walk?
Yeah, thanks, Lindsay. Look, you've absolutely nailed it there. I think that whole document, that whole address it just says it all, really. It talks about Christ being with the great Spirit of God that was in this land long before European Australia, and the Spirit of God was moving through lots of the rich cultural ways without crossing spiritualities, of course, but just that the Spirit of God was in this land and the great custodialship that was modelled through really the respecting of, which I often call the traditional owner, which is a Heavenly Father. And he the great honouring that has been taking place for what we know to be possibly 85,000 years or more. Just great custodianship. So the acknowledgement of that in the address, the woundedness, JP2 going to the heart of the woundedness and the reconciliation and the healing and the rising up. Aboriginal people rise up now, embrace this time, embrace the calling. And I just love as the rousing nature of that document and that address. And I managed to find some of the footage actually. One of our team saw some of it through Northern Territory libraries there. And I just love that idea of contribution that we'll be all that we're called to be in Christ as the Australian Church when when both First Nations and non-First Nations Australia make their contribution and both are joyfully received. Yeah, you said it well. And we every day are trying to respond to that through lots of our First Nations people every day in the City Mission that are going through hard times. They're in their darkest moments. They've been released from times of custody. They're overcoming addiction. They're working through relationships, illness. There's generational stuff going on. So we know them well, and that document is a living document. That address is so appropriate today. He went on to speak other parts of the country too. He spoke to immigrant families in Western Sydney on that same tour, and just wow, like the things he'd speak about, the importance of just being the keepers of the faith and work ethic and those things. So yeah, there's more than just the Alice Springs component, but certainly Alice Springs close to my heart. I've spent a lot of time out there, just having gone on immersion trips before in communities like Santa Teresa. We'll summit there on the 21st of June at the 10 a.m. morning mass. Will be the finale of the 2,700 plus Ks. So yeah, it's a beautiful sort of photo finish in the spirit of JP2.
Amazing. And I wanted to ask you just on that as well. Are there any over 2,500 Ks? You've obviously probably planned a few stops in a few places that are important. Are there any significant stops that you want to highlight as part of that journey?
Yeah, so look, it's a great trip from Brisbane through to Alice Springs. We're heading out through the back of Western Queensland, pretty much directly west from City Mission. We'll leave from our Sunday chapel at 4 a.m. on Monday the 20th of April, which is next Monday. And myself and Jeff, along with Jeff's father, who's come up from Wollongong to run a vehicle for Jeff each night, and my brother-in-law Lucas, known as Rowdy, he's running the Land Cruiser in the little caravan in the back for myself, and then we got a content guy coming out too, so Dan Pereira. So we're really stoked to be 5 of us on the road, and people will join us and come and go. But in light of that, we're heading out through from Brisbane north of Toowoomba through Dalby, Roma, out into Blackall, Barcaldine, Longreach, Winton across to Booyah, and then Booyah was the north of the Simpson Desert across what they call the Plenty Highway, which is fairly iconic, into Alice Springs along the Bins track, and we'll be going to some communities along the way there. We've made contact with the bishops of each diocese we pass through, and we've received their blessing, but also potential for some activity there with various officers within those dioceses. And then just people who just know us from over the years we've been operating, and priests and lay people that just know that we're coming. So, yeah, the interest is, I think people haven't believed that we're actually going to do it. And now that it's gone live as of last Monday, the campaign, it's like, okay, you're doing this, and the vehicles are wrapped and the socials are gone, and we're doing, podcasts like this, and it just seems, people are believing we're doing it, so they're interested now to meet us. But that whole part of Queensland is into the Northern Territory is just, it's just such blessed country. Obviously, cultural significance to First Nations people. We'll pass through many boundaries, traditional homelands, and we're really going to pay our respect to a lot of our visitors, really, who we know are from some of those communities out west and their people. So, but then there's lots of Catholic communities in those areas too, and some great dioceses with some great bishops we'll make some contact with. Yeah, so really looking forward to some of that. Some of that is a little bit of the 11th hour, but I think that's the kind of year we're in. And then we've actually, I know at the Rockhampton Diocese, there's been an announcement of a new bishop. It's happening. The installation's happening as we travel through that diocese. So,
right.
So all sorts of things happening, but really great to have the support of those communities along the way. And look, City Mission has impacted people we know over the years that have been from those places, as I alluded to earlier. So there's a tapestry there that we're keen to just to be mindful of as we prayerfully walk through, and as we participate in our own traditions and cultures. We just keep taking our hearts to the very people that have walked through our doors that have been from those regional towns and communities.
Yeah, that's an incredible amount of symbolism for just going to visit people and communities that are linked to your mission. I was wondering, 2,500 kilometers, no one wakes up in the morning and says, hey, you know what, that's what I'm going to do. How was that? How was it that distance, not say 100 or 200 or, what was the motivation behind that?
Oh, look, I'm 42 there, Lindsay. Jeff's also 40. We're 83 models. You get the stage in life where you want to just explore the wild quite naturally. So there's that natural component of, as men of God, we wanted to, Jeff's an ultra runner. So he does a lot of ultra marathons and ultra trails. He's done a lot of the big ones, and he's done some really great stuff in the way of the competitive nature of it, but more he's just such a source of encouragement. And together I had a sense in 2011 that I'd do this, and have done levels of work over the years and the lead up, and just to make sure that the health is there to give us a good go. We don't know if we can do it. We believe in faith that all things are possible. So we've done all we can to be as fit as we can at this stage of the journey and to apply all the things that we know work for us individually, from appropriate footwears to dietary considerations to appropriate rest to mixing up between running and walking. And the way the days work is it's 50 Ks a day we'll be doing, which sounds like, well, it's still a lot. It is, yes, but we'll do 25 Ks before breakfast, and that'll be a shuffle. So that'll be a jog, roughly a whatever minute pace we set, probably around the sort of the 6.5 minute pace mark. For anyone who's in the sort of running game, it's not super strenuous. Doing it every day for 2 months is still a task, but we'll do that before breakfast. The air's a bit cooler. After breakfast, we'd move to a 12.5 component and look if people are joining us, and we'll walk it. If we just choose to continue to shuffle our way through a run, then we'll do that, depending on where things are at. And then morning tea, and then after morning tea, we go to the 12.5, and that breakdown gives us kind of the 50 Ks, which is really digestible in one sense. It seems a huge task for many, but we've worked really hard to be able to work in those portions. So the actual endurance side of it and the waking up and just choosing to do 2,500 isn't so much how we got there, as more so we've pulled it apart and really looked at, well, how could you achieve it? And we really think it's achievable. We do have a pilgrimage every year at Holy Week in our diocese from Emmanuel City Mission to Cherbourg, which is an Aboriginal community in our diocese. It's a 300K walk at Holy Week that we do every year. We've completed our fourth pilgrimage at Holy Week just gone, leaving Palm Sunday from City Mission. And that's gave us a bit of an appetizer as to what a 300K a week looks like. And yeah, it's been an extraordinary event. We had Bishop Tim Norton join us for a number of years there. He's up in Broome now. We've had quite a few of our visitors and some of our staff, and then many of our supporters join us for that. So yeah, taking groups out and doing that, it's been a real eye-opener as far as what it's like to have a group on the road. So then when this is particularly myself and Jeff, and this level of competency where, look, we're quietly confident at the challenge. I hope, Lindsay, that I can report to you some stage that we did it. But at the same time, greater is he. And we're going to press into the rosary. We're going to press into those spiritual endurance pieces that we know work. And when there's pain, we'll just find a way. But yeah, Alice Springs, it's not everyone's destination, but it's where we're headed.
I suppose when there's all the physical preparation you're talking about, which is important, you've also talked about the faith element too, I guess, because you need that to, as you said, just to carry our hearts across the line as well. Sounds like you've done as much preparation as you possibly can.
Oh, can always go further, but prayer should be the cornerstone.
Yeah. In my other life, I'm a high school teacher, so we always tell our students that when you're going to do something big, break it down into small parts as well. And it sounds like you've got that philosophy behind it too, which is really good.
Right.
Yeah, I wanted to ask as well. You also mentioned that you're a father of 7. What's the age range of your children, and what conversations have you been having with them about what you're about to do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have 2 sons and 5 daughters. My eldest child is Chloe. She's 19. So she's serving with Net Ministries this year, and she's up on the Net team in Rockhampton, which is really awesome. I'm really proud of her at a young age, choosing to do a year of Catholic mission, which is great. My son Noah just turned 18. He's at uni this year doing wildlife science. And then I have a son, Jonah, who's in grade 11. I have a daughter, Miley, who's in grade 10. I have a daughter, Rosie, in grade 7, Lucy in grade 5, and Charlie, who's in grade 2. So, yeah, from grade 2 from 6 to 19 is the age range. Yeah, they're a great gift. They've always been the driving force behind the City Mission journey beyond the home. And obviously it's the place where we say we give our first fruits. I think sometimes I give them the scraps because you're exhausted beyond the home. But no, we've tried to raise our children in faith. And so the conversations we have, they've spent a lot of time in Central Australia with myself and Catherine, and the times we've gone out there and for weeks and months at a time. So they know where I'm going and what I'm doing. They know the people and the relationships. They've grown up with First Nations children in the communities that we're going out to. So they're pretty pumped. They're probably used to Dad being a little bit left or right of centre when it comes to doing stuff. But for me, it's about the why, and they know that Jesus Christ is the head of our house. He's the foundation stone of our Catholicism, and it's Catholicism's real for us. It's about devotion and commitment and the quiet place, the communal place, the public place. It's about Sunday Mass. It's about the sacraments. It's about the rosary. It's all those things. We've got a devotion to St. Michael the Archangel through a lot of the spiritual warfare space, all that sort of stuff. The kids have been raised that way. They know that it's very real for us because of the nature of City Mission's commitment to the world and to Brisbane. But then they know that this walk it's a real moment of which I've been speaking to them about it for years, so they know it's coming. My wife is the hero in all this, Catherine. She'll take the brunt at home for a bit, but she's also hitting the road and coming out with a convoy in June because we have about a 65-person summit happening out there called the Bush Rallies. And we are running with Ignite Youth and Net Ministries. We're running 2 bush rallies, one in Alice Springs, one in Santa Teresa, and it's effectively a Catholic youth rally, which the kids will be involved in. So, so their involvement is, the conversations have been really active, and naturally they're going to miss Dad, and heck, I'm going to miss them for the period I don't see them. I think while I'm close to Brizzy, they'll come out on different times and we'll catch up in the period. There will come a time where it's a little bit too far to come out for the weekend or whatnot, but just bunkering down for that towards Monday, and it is what it is. I've made a promise post-July that things will just be a little slower and quieter for a while, but we're doing it together. I believe that families should be on mission, and the kids in Catherine have always been central in that mission and played a really key role in who I am and in who they are and in who God calls us to be as a household, man. Yeah.
That's beautiful. So while you're on the walk, will people be able to follow what you're doing and get updates on how it's all going?
Yeah, certainly, Lindsay. Yeah, we'll be on Instagram Live 3 times a day. We're going live for the sake of our visitors back at the screens in the digital notice boards at City Mission is the first objective in doing that. But the secondly, otherwise, just bringing anybody along on the journey. A lot of our guys and girls have kind of come through recovery and they've gone on to live lives beyond homelessness, and they're on the socials where they stay in touch with the City Mission team. So we're bringing our community along, our supporters. 30 schools we engage with, we'll bring them along, our corporate volunteers and supporters, right through to, we hope, the nation. We hope to bring as many people that want to just tune into Instagram Live, the Emmanuel City Mission Instagram Live page to come along. There'll be regular content through our Facebook page as well. So, Insta and Facebook will be the 2 platforms where we'll really just do the daily, weekly and momentarily posting and catch-ups. We're open to, we got Starlink the whole way, so we've got comms all the way out through there, and I've tested it out, so it's reliable, which is good. So we can tune in with people along the way too. We can catch up with you again if you want to. So there's opportunities there to tune in from the red dirt. So we're looking forward to really just sharing the whole experience. It's going to be awesome. We're living out the back of a Land Cruiser. We're going to be eating a lot of steak and just sore feet and elevated legs and campfires, and who knows what's going to happen. We're really excited about the humanity of it all, but just going to share it through the socials, mate. Yeah.
Amazing. And finally, with this amazing effort that you're doing, I'm sure people will be inspired to want to donate and for such a worthy cause. So how can people donate if they'd like to support what you're doing over the next couple of months?
Yeah, thanks, Lindsay. And look, that's where this really summits is in this transferring to nights off the street for people who are experiencing homelessness. If you check out Roby's Walk, so ROBYS, robbyswalk.com.au, there's more information there. There's some content there to support what I've said today. Then there's an opportunity. There's a giving portal, so there's an opportunity to give digitally through there. We have other information on there if people would prefer to reach out for more, give in a different way, whether it be through a bank transfer or some other way. Greater than financial provision, of course, that's our goal is $1 million. But greater than that is it's, especially in a forum such as this, is just the prayer power. So if we could mobilise all the prayer warriors across all the churches, obviously our Catholic community nationally and beyond, but also any other Christians or believers from other denominations. I'd love to just seek the prayer of the whole body of believers, and just any encouragement, just words of encouragement along the way. I don't know. The 2 main things: prayer and financial support.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, just to let you know, I'll be sharing those links on our show notes for this episode when it comes out, just so we can get the word out there as well. And we'll be praying you over the line to get you that 2,500 kilometers as well. But the other 2 team members who do this podcast with me couldn't be here today, but they were very excited when they heard about what you're doing. So please know that you have our support, our prayers, and I'm sure we'll tip some cash in there to get you towards that goal as well. But Roby Curtis, all the best, all of God's blessings for this walk. And thank you so much for sharing this story today on the Catholics of Oz.
Thanks so much, Lindsay. Appreciate it. And many blessings on this platform. I pray that the good news of Jesus reach far and wide, brother.
All right. Thank you so much, Robbie. I really appreciate that.
No worries. Thank you for the opportunity.
So that was the interview. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you can support Robbie at all with his great cause, please do. The information on how you can support him will be in our show notes. So let's move on now. Caroline, I'm going to throw over to you because we are going to talk about science.
What Tuesday, a fine day for science.
You have any hobbies?
I collect spores, molds, and fungus.
Can you reverse the polarity?
I'll do my best.
Science, 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 science. Science, 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 science. Yeah, I like science.
Yes, we are. And it's a pretty fun topic today. I have named it Bruce the Champion Kia. Okay. So Bruce is a little parrot. Okay. And he's from New Zealand. He is a Kia, as I've mentioned. And these Kia typically live in the snow-capped peaks of New Zealand's South Island. So it's very cold. And in fact, the Kia is the world's only alpine parrot, and their natural habitat is a landscape ranging from the lowland river valleys of the west coast up to the high-altitude fields and mountain slopes of the southern Alps, reaching heights of about 2,000 meters. And they are really masters of the cold climate. They thrive in places like Arthur's Pass and Aoraki or Mount Cook National Park. So they are amazing little guys being able to live in the cold. Usually if you think of a parrot, they live in the nice warm temperatures, or we have our parrots in temperate climates here in Melbourne and in Australia, all around Australia. Now, Kias they're very stocky and pretty well built for parrots, and they have a beautiful olive green plumage, and underneath this green plumage is a beautiful surprise of brilliant orange feathers under their wings. And you only usually see these orange feathers when they're flying or dismantling a tourist backpack or maybe chewing on someone's windscreen wipers on their car when they get a bit excited.
Yeah,
they are very well known for doing that. Okay.
Same as the parrots here in Australia. Yep.
Yes.
Do they have a preference for Kia branded cars, or is
Yeah, that's a study on its own, I think. Kias for Kias. Yeah.
Kia on it?
Yeah. Love it.
It's an advertising campaign right there for copyright.
To do this, obviously, these birds have loads of personality, and I've been really lucky to have some close encounters with these birds in a wildlife park. I've seen them up close. I've had a chat to them, and they're so cheeky and they're really charismatic, like the most charismatic New Zealand birds I've met in New Zealand. They're just brilliant. I just love them. They're just the best. I love all New Zealand birds, to be honest, but these little guys really stand out. And if you have an encounter, you'll never forget it. So with Kias, their most critical tool that they use, as I've indicated before, is their beak. So in a typical Kia, the upper mandible is long, it's curved, and it's overlapping and acts like a specialized hook, which they use for foraging, for climbing, and a little thing they call allopreening, which is how they clean each other to maintain social bonds. So they're very social birds. Now, but today we aren't talking about a typical Kia. We're talking about Bruce. Bruce. Okay. Brilliant name. I love it.
Before you go on, Bruce, it's a very Australian name. We hear a lot about Bruce, whatever.
True.
Is Bruce, is it a, do you know if it's a common name in New Zealand, or like how did...
I can't say I've heard it, a lot of it in New Zealand.
It doesn't strike me as the type.
It sounds like it in New Zealand,
Maybe an Australian named him, who knows?
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, I'm going to say, hey, that's unfair.
If anyone knows, please let us know, right?
And I will call him Bruce.
Bruce.
Yeah.
Bruce. It's such a great name. I love the name Bruce.
It's a great name.
I actually really do.
Shout out to all the Bruces out there listening today.
All the Bruces, brilliant name, you're legends. Okay. So Bruce lives at the Willowbank Wildlife Reserve. Now, this is located about 15 minutes away from the city centre of Christchurch, which is on the South Island of New Zealand. Now, while the reserve is a haven for many of New Zealand's native species of birds, Mr. Bruce stands out because he's missing his entire upper beak.
Ooh.
Yeah. So now, if Bruce were living in the wild, missing his upper beak would probably be a death sentence for a Kia.
Yeah.
Because he wouldn't be able to do what other Kias do. But
that's true.
There's a curveball here. according to a new study published in Current Biology, Bruce didn't just survive and isn't just surviving. He has learnt to adapt. Also, he has actually become the alpha male, the alpha bird of his entire group.
Wow.
Now, yeah, he's defied all the odds. So
Because his name is Bruce. Bruce is like a tough guy name.
It's definitely got something to do with it, definitely. So to understand why Bruce is such a big deal, let's look at how Kia operates socially. So a group of Kia, which I love this, is called a circus. Aptly named, perfectly named, right? It just suits them perfectly. A circus. They are little clowns, right?
Yep.
Cutest little
Very
guys.
cute clowns. Very nice.
Very beautiful and cute and definitely, little clowns. So I'm not sure. It's just, they just think it's amazing. So they definitely have the big personalities. Now, Bruce arrived at Willowbank about 12 years ago. Now, it's suspected he's lost his beak to a pest trap in the wild, which is kind of sad.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So when researchers first started studying him, they discovered something world first, self-medicated tool use. Because Bruce couldn't preen his feathers with a hook beak that didn't have, he actually began picking up specific pebbles, holding them against his tongue and using them to comb his feathers. That is just so, wow, what intelligence, so smart.
Absolutely.
Totally. Now, in Kia culture, the birds establish dominance through agonistic interactions. So now, normally a male Kia uses a downward biting motion. So they use that sharp upper hook to grab the neck or the wing of an opponent and pin them down. Now, it's all about the leverage from above. Now, Bruce, obviously, he can't do this. He hasn't got the hook. The research team recorded 227 of these dominance displays by Bruce. They expected him to be the bird at the bottom of the ladder. You know what? Instead, Bruce was involved in 36 high-stake fights with other males. You know what? He won 100% of these fights.
I was about to say,
Bruce.
Take that, UFC. Yeah.
Leading to the famous phrase that's known all over New Zealand, you can always bet on Bruce.
That's it. We like Bruce.
We like Bruce.
Now,
you like Bruce?
Yeah, I'm on Team Bruce. Yeah.
Cool. I'm Tim. Yeah, I know.
Now, Bruce was able to invent a fighting style all of his own that they have named beak jousting.
Oh.
So since he can't bite down, Bruce uses his lower mandible like a spear. So while his opponent is trying to get into position for a traditional overhead bite, Bruce lunges forward with a rapid horizontal thrust. So
there you go.
He aims his lower beak at the opponent's chest or head. Now, the physics are fascinating because other birds aren't evolved to defend against the spear thrust, and they're all caught off balance. It's making me laugh because it's just funny to think about it. Now, the data shows that this jousting move repels rivals 73% of the time compared to just 48% for a standard Kia kick or bite. Awesome. So now, being the alpha obviously comes with lots of advantages when you are in a circus of Kias. So Bruce gets first pick at the feeding stations because they are feeding stations around the reserve. So in fact, for about 15 minutes every day, the other birds just stay back and let Bruce eat alone at all 4 feeders, okay?
Wow.
Which is really rarely seen in competitive birds.
Oh, go Bruce. Yeah, that is, wow. Yeah.
Now, here's a little bit of science for you. The researchers analysed the bird's droppings for corticosterone, which is a stress hormone, okay? Now, usually the alpha bird is the most stressed because they're constantly on guard to defend their status.
Yeah.
But you know what?
I can
Bruce
imagine.
had the lowest stress levels in the entire
Really?
circuit.
Wow,
Now,
that's it.
Isn't that amazing? So he's a confident guy.
He's a confident bird, yeah.
He knows what he's got over everyone else. So it turns out that leadership isn't just based on fear, it's based on a unique social contract. So bird is the only male who gets allopreened by other subordinate males. Because he can't reach a certain spot on his own head, the other birds clean him in a form of social tribute. So he has traded his disability, in quotes, for a specialized role in the group that ensures he is cared for and respected. He has earned his place as the alpha. So this has caused biologists to really rethink the very definition of a disability in animal kingdom.
In animal kingdom.
So we often think of evolution as a rigid process with a broken or left behind. But Bruce proves that in high intelligence species, there's something called behavioral plasticity. So this is the ability to change your behavior to fit your circumstances, which is the ultimate survival trait. So by working with what beak he had left, Bruce invented the new way to fight and a new way to groom and a new way to lead. And I just think, isn't that an amazing insight to the intelligence of these birds and how they're able to adapt and thrive despite being a little different to the others and even having a huge advantage because of it. So that's the story of Bruce the Kia.
Wow. That's amazing, Caroline. You know, it just shows personally that even us humans have disabilities and also animals do disabilities. They find their way. They find their way to adapt, and it's amazing.
It is.
It shows that they can still survive. They have to find a way to survive, and they will. And it's just incredible.
The resilience of animals is really amazing. We've seen like dogs with 3 legs and they're fine. They don't care. They just run with what they've got. Or even when my little Fifi was paralyzed earlier this year.
That's right. Yeah.
Fine now.
Ooh.
But she had so much fight in her that she made herself better just through willpower. Like she really just wanted to get better, and she was limping along and everything, but she didn't stop moving. I'm just going to do what I can with the legs that do work. So they're amazing. Animals are amazing. They can teach us a lot. Don't get beaten down if your body's not working. Try and do what you can with it. I know. I can say that because I'm getting older and everything's creaking.
Relate to that.
You know? But
is there any relationship to neuroplasticity? Sorry to throw a curveball question. Because they talk about how, like, the human brain, you can train it. There's not really necessarily an age limit where, you can't learn any new skills. Neuroplasticity, you can actually still learn new skills and if I want it, I'm terrible at maths, but if I really put my mind to it, I could become a mathematician. I'm not going to, by the way, but is there any, and you don't have anything written in front of you about this, but do you think it could be something similar with Bruce and other animals like this?
It could be. That's a really interesting question. If you think about it, he probably did have to figure out, how do I use I don't have the top beak anymore. What am I going to do? How does it work now? And he probably did have to retrain his brain and his body to work together to make it work in the way he wanted to. So, there probably is a degree of that in there. Absolutely. That's really interesting. That would be another study on its own, wouldn't it?
Yeah, true.
Let's write to them and tell them. Find a link,
But that's the thing with science, isn't it? You answer one question, but then there's heaps more. There's lots more questions, isn't there? And that's just what makes it fun, because the more you learn, the more you want to learn. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. That's great. Thank you for sharing. That's a great story. I like that one. And I have to admit, I've never heard of Kias before. And I was looking at photos.
Me neither.
Beautiful birds. That like hooked beak you were talking about and everything. Yeah, really nice. All right. Well, let's wrap it up there. A lot of great content on today's episode. We want to thank you all for joining us for episode 153 of the Catholics of Oz. And before we go, we'd like to take a moment to thank our patrons who make it possible for us to create the Catholics of Oz. Today, we want to thank Brendan H., Seth N., Clint V., Melanie Q, and Alison H. Through their generous donations at givestarquest.com, they make it possible for the Catholics of Oz and all of the other shows on StarQuest to continue. You can join them by visiting givestarquest.com. Also, we'd love to know your thoughts about the topics we've just discussed today. You can send us feedback by visiting sqpn.com/Oz, and you can find our show notes and links. So Today links to Caroline's story about Bruce, the Kia. Sorry, I should have said Bruce. I should say it properly. And also more information about how you can support Robbie and more details about his walk. I forgot to mention earlier, Robbie did mention in the interview, I just want to mention again, because I've been doing this on Instagram. Robbie posts videos in the morning and the evening, his time, but in the morning and evening with updates about how things are going and what he's doing. Yeah, please do follow and offer him some support if you can. While you're at the SQPN website, looking at our show notes, you can also sign up to the Insiders Club newsletter and get updates about your favorite shows, sqpn.com/about/newsletter. And you can also find all the shows through StarQuest socials. So just look for StarQuest on your favorite social media and there should be a presence there. We also have our own Catholics of Oz Facebook page, facebook.com/Catholics of Oz, spelled OZ. And you can reach us by email at catholicsofoz@sqpn.com. Caroline, thank you so much for being part of episode 153 today.
Thank you very much.
And Lino, thanks for joining us as well.
It has been an amazing episode. Have a good day, guys. See you soon.
And once again, I'm Lindsay Sant, and thanks for joining us for episode 153 of the Catholics of Oz on StarQuest.
Here's another show on the StarQuest Network you're sure to enjoy, The Secrets of Television. Find it wherever fine podcasts are found or at sqpn.com/TV. We'd like to thank Patrick McCaffrey of Moonshadow Studios for editing this episode. To have your audio edited professionally and with care, check out more of Patrick's work at moonshadowstudios.biz. That's moonshadowstudios.biz.